Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Big, Big Good, written by sjanevardsson. Lisette watched Ygritte run around the track in his loping knuckle-walk gait. The others of his kind engaged in various sports in the pitch surrounding by a track. For his part, Ygritte had a standing race against one of the humans every Thursday. His muscles sufficiently warmed up, he stood up in a bipedal stance, the foreign sun of this planet shining off his dark brown scales and shimmering rainbows. "Are you ready yet, Cal?" he asked the human. Kelly Bradley, former professional sprinter dressed in exercise shorts, a t-shirt that said staff on the back, and running shoes, smiled at Malkin. "I won't go easy on you, Ig. You're going to win today." "I think I might," he said. 400 meters, let's go." Lisette Deschamps, dressed in a polo shirt, slacks, soft boots, body camera, and utility belt with keys and a radio that made up her standard uniform, stood by the starting line for the 400-meter dash. "Come on, you two, let's get this show on the road, so Kenny can get his skinny, glow-in-the-dark white legs back into a uniform." They lined up, and Lisette gave them the signal to go. The human, in his long-legged stride, led off the line. It took the Malkin some time to build up speed in their quadrupedal knuckle-walking gait. Once they did, though, they could far outstep at the speed of a human. The conventional wisdom was humans win at 100 and 200 meters. They tie somewhere around 400 meters, and the Malkins win at distances up to 5 kilometers. The outside range for Malkin endurance. At long distances, humans always had the upper hand. Kenny ran like he'd had the devil on his tail. Head forward, arms pumping, back straight. Ygritte built up speed like a locomotive, gaining on Kenny on the oval track. Lisette watched the finish line along with a few of the other Malkins, most of whom cheered for Ygritte, but Lisette noticed a couple of them cheering for Kelly. She positioned herself so her body camera was pointed straight down the finish line. It was going to be close. They came across the line, Kelly slowing after a few long arm-swinging steps she'd gotten used to seeing. Ygritte, however, dove across the line so hard that he rolled into a ball on the other side and came to a stop in a heap. Ignoring the question of winner for the moment, Lisette ran to his side along with Kelly. "Are you hurt?" she asked. Ygritte unrolled himself, and they could see that he was laughing. "That was my best run ever. If that didn't beat you, I don't know if it's possible." A voice came across her radio. "Lisette, we're watching the replay in control. Ygritte won by about 2 millimeters. Kelly helped the exhausted Ygritte to his feet and congratulated him before going in to prepare for his shift. Lisette finished out the afternoon with the Malkins until it was time for them to head back inside. As they filed in, she greeted them each by name, and they responded in kind. She had just stepped inside and locked the outside door when her radio chirped. She put her earpiece in and set the radio to talk to send. "This is Lisette, all counted. Some of the guys are making a celebratory dinner for Ygritte, some variation of a traditional dish using local ingredients." Lisette nodded. "Yeah, I'll handle it. I'm off tomorrow anyway, so I can handle staying a little late." "Will do." "Hey, Lisette, are you having dinner with us?" Ygritte stood tall, on 2 feet. His long arms held out a bit from his body. That stance from a human would be a warning that he was about to get violent. In Malcolm body language, however, it was the equivalent to a human standing stock straight, their head high, their chest puffed out. Pride. "I bet Kelly will when he gets you," she said, "but I've got some other things to take care of. It sounds good, though. Could you save me a plate, if it's not too much trouble?" "We'll make sure of it," he said. "I have to welcome a new guest, so don't be too hard on Ivan or Waylon. I'll be back later. You can be as hard as you want on Kelly, though." She laughed, and the Malkins and Kelly laughed with her. She walked through the common room where a large hollow plate of a popular sitcoms. Various board games were stacked on the shelves, along with a wide selection of books, both human and Malkin in origin. The open kitchen, with all the needed amenities, was a hub of activity, as it seemed at least 4 of the Malkins were all trying to make the same dish with a surprising lack of dissent or disagreement. The most common noise coming from the group in the kitchen was laughter, including from Ivan, who was helping out. Lisette opened up a panel near the elevator and turned her key in the recessed keyhole. The elevator door slid open, and she stepped in. In the dormitory she just left, there was nothing that felt like a prison at all, nothing to suggest that entire dormitory was, in effect, a giant prison cell. Stopped on the level where tunnels ran beneath the dormitories and sports field, that illusion was shattered, even without a single bar anywhere in the prison. She entered control, the literal and metaphorical center of the prison. After finding out what time the new guest was due to arrive, she waited in the intake office just inside the outer walls of the prison. When the Malkin was led out of the ground car, hands and feet shackled, Lisette stood just inside the door, her arms crossed in a close approximation of a Malkin greeting stance. The military police unlocked his shackles, handed his file to Lisette and said, "He's all yours." Freed from his bonds, the Malkin returned the greeting stance, seeming bewildered. Lisette spoke to him in the most common Malkin language, one that over 80% of the prison population spoke, and the only one that she'd learned. "Welcome, Jigen Mountain. I'm Lisette Duchamps. The man there is George Mendez, and we'll be handling your intake." She offered a hand to shake. Jigen looked at the extended hand and shook it in the human gesture he'd learned during his brief detainment. "You speak Hantu? This is not the reception I expected." "I speak some, but getting better," she said. "Do you speak common?" He made a fist with one hand and held low, the sign for small. "I talks can little good bad. I listens can big good." "We can teach you," she said. "If you don't understand anything I'm saying, just stop me and I'll try to translate. First, though, we need to get you checked out by the doctor and get rid of that silly orange uniform. We have a closet full of donated Malkin and human clothes. Feel free to take anything that fits you." She led him to an elevator, and George followed behind, opening them in the elevator. They exited in the tunnels below the prison, where they went to another elevator to the assessment wing and exited right next to the doctor's station. Jigen selected 3 changes of clothing from the donations closet. After his physical exam, the ill-fitting orange jumpsuit was put into a box marked MP Return, and he dressed in one of the new outfits. Lisette then led him back to the elevator and up to the dorm. When they exited the elevator at the dorm level, she led him to the quarters and held the door for him. "This is where you'll be staying. A counselor will be by tomorrow morning to learn more about you and figure out what we can do to make you comfortable." Jigen looked around the room, and Lisette pointed out to the bed, closet, desk, holoscreen, shower, toilet, and sink, and the interior lock on the door. "Anytime you feel the need to be left alone, you can come in here and lock the door. We can open it with a key, but we won't unless it's necessary. If you follow me, I'll show you to the shared kitchen, where you'll be expected to cook your evening meals for yourself and clean up after yourself. Morning and noon meals are delivered." She handed him a card with a matrix code on it. "Don't lose this. This is your identification and how you can buy things you need from the store through the double doors there when it's open. It's not required that you work, as you get a small daily stipend, but we encourage it, just to keep you occupied and not molting on your own tail." Jigen tilted his head at her use of the Hantu phrase that equated to going stir-crazy. He sniffed the air and pointed to a plate covered in foil that sat near the microwave. "What is that?" Ygritte stepped in, speaking Hantu. "It happens to be a Oaken Topa, made with local ingredients. It's missing that sharp Tanganuru note, but cooking in human wine comes a close second. I saved it for Lisette, but if you are hungry, I bet she'd let you have it." Lisette nodded. "It looks good, but I doubt the MPs fit you very well. Go ahead, Jigen. I'll try it next time." She showed him how to use the microwave to reheat the meal and left him in Ygritte's care, while she moved to join some of the others watching a holo. She heard snippets of their conversation as Ygritte replayed his racing victory over Kelly. After a few minutes, Jigen walked over and stood next to her. "I don't know what to make of this. Guards and prisoners mingling, and you carry no weapons." "I get that a lot. I know you're a prisoner of war, and you know it, but that's no reason to treat you badly. Our job is to make sure that you're safe and comfortable and well cared for until the war's over. We'd rather act like a helpful neighbor than an overbearing guard." Watch said, though, if you cause trouble, there will be consequences. There are 214 guests here and 307 staff. We do everything we can to solve problems before they get that far, though. If you need anything tonight, you can ask your dorm mates, the staff on the floor, or the intercom on the wall near the door. Just push the button to talk and let the staff on duty know what you need. Jigen relaxed his posture. Good, no torture, but you haven't even asked me any questions. When are you going to interrogate me? Why would we do that? Lisette asked. Torture doesn't work, and we can't trust anything you might have to say about military plans or anything of the sort. Trust me, I'd make up all sorts of wild stories to muddy the intelligence picture. Then why do you take prisoners, if not for information? Why not just kill us instead? Killing you is against the rules, our rules at least. The war may still be going on, but it will end, and when it does, would we be better off having treated you with kindness or punishment and deprivation? One promotes the ability to someday live side by side, while the other promotes more hatred. You speak the truth. Jigen sat on his haunches, head bowed low, his long arms behind him. The Scent recognized it as a submissive posture, and one used during formal apologies. I'm big sorry, he said. For what? She asked. You've done nothing wrong. Our peoples are at war. But all you've done is be a soldier for your people. Look, you didn't start the war. I didn't start the war. Nobody here started the war. Politicians did that. And no matter how mad we are at them, that's not a reason to take it out on each other. Big sorry, he said again. On behalf of my people, I worked at a POV camp before I got sent to the front. Even the guard quarters were worse than this. It's day and night lockdown and questioning, and even though I was shooting at your kind just 2 suns ago, you are treating me with dignity and respect. Lisette knew Malcolm's body language and knew how to respond to a formal apology. She placed a palm on his forehead and said, Your scales are clean, your blame bolted. I forgive you, Jigen. Now you need to forgive yourself. He raised his head to meet her gaze, and the oily tears she saw often from some of the prisoners, usually when talking about family and home, gathered at the edges of his eye pits. Many of the other Malkans had stopped what they were doing and watched Jigen's formal apology. Ygritte brought Jigen a cold beer from the fridge. Your scales are clean, cousin. This will help. Ivan cleared his throat, calling attention to himself, where he'd been playing chess with one of the Malkans. It's your move, man, Ygritte laughed. Way to read the mood, Ivan. Lisette joined in laughter, and the hollow started up again as Jigen rose from his position. I believe I need to sleep now, if I may be allowed. Sure, Lisette answered. You don't have to ask. We're all adults here, so make yourself at home. I'll be leaving after this hollow, and I'm off tomorrow. But when I come in on Saturday, I'll check in with you first thing to see how you're adapting. Jigen walked on 3 limbs, knuckle walking with his left arm while he drank a beer with his right. I don't know what this is, but I like it, he called out. Big good. Big good. Ivan called out, Beer, big good, and got a laugh out of everyone, including Jigen. End of story. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters, Bushmaster 117, Casper Arnholtz, Draxzoon WRE, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, John Carrington, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.